How's it going, chimps? My name is Monkai, and today we are talking about OVRDARK, a do not open story. OVRDARK is a game that just released on March 29th of 2024. This is what I would think it's an indie horror. I'm not uncertain if it's technically an indie game, but based off of the graphics, the gameplay, and the way the game works, it seems like an indie game. Definitely not a AAA title, but OVRDARK is a brand new puzzle horror game, and I wanted to do a review on this game. I was hoping to get Madison VR today, but they delayed the game, which honestly I'm cool with. I want developers to release their games with polish. I don't want them to release their games early or prematurely, but we have OVRDARK today. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I don't think this game is really much worth too much time. Unless you really are into like every single type of horror game or puzzle game, then I mean it might be for you. And it's not too expensive. This game is $29.99, which isn't too bad at all. But there is some parts of this game that felt extremely underwhelming and just kind of bland, or you could tell that it was like an indie. And I don't want to be too harsh or too rude, but I want to be realistic and completely truthful and honest, so I'm going to be going through the reasons why I think this game is good and the reasons why I think this game isn't very good. So let's start with what's good. So what's good about this game is that it is a VR horror story game with those more so like VR elements. Like I find myself comparing it a lot to Resident Evil Village because that's the only horror experience I've had on PlayStation. I haven't really looked too far into too many other horror games, but Village is one of those games that's like so good, and the story is also very good. It's a AAA experience in VR, and that kind of isn't fair to like completely compare this game to that or really any other game. I just want to be unbiased as possible. But with that being said, there are a lot of things that are similar to that game, like the puzzles and like all the different backtracking and unlocking of doors and whatnot. But one thing about this game is that the VR mechanics are fun, like being able to touch and move and like interact with everything in a physics-based environment is pretty fun. And it feels like it's pretty polished. Like obviously it's day one, they got some kinks to work out, but so there were a couple things that I was like, it wouldn't let me grab things every once in a while, or sometimes I wouldn't be able to move something, or it'd be a little buggy, or like the flashlight, you double tap the trigger to put it to your hand. Sometimes you do that and it just wouldn't work. But that's I'm not gonna be too harsh on that kind of thing because I'm sure those kinks will be worked out in time. And some of the atmosphere feelings in this game were pretty good. Like, I'm gonna be honest, it didn't really scare me too much at all. There was a couple times where I felt tension and got sweaty, like when the lights turn out, when you have to actually manage or go through the mansion in the dark. That gets it going, but
with this, I can make the elevator work.
Oh my gosh, the one that's all the way in the basement. That was a bad idea. I was just gonna talk about how it is not dark enough in this game to make it worth being scary. The biggest issue I have with this game is that it's just not very scary at all, and it seems very shallow. Like the story just seems very goofy. Like I couldn't help but laugh at one of the story bits where there's a child talking and it sounds like a 12-year-old voice or kind of talking in a baby like a baby body. So it was like really goofy and just out of place.
Julia, how many times do I have to tell you not to come in here?
I'm sorry, Dad. I just wanted to see the swords.
Honey, look at me.
And then the big, at least the villain that I saw mostly, I didn't get too far into the game. I've got probably like 2-3 hours into it, so I guess there's still a lot more that I could figure out. But that's another thing with this game. I'm not interested enough in it to have me continue playing, because it's basically like a puzzle horror game, but you have no weapons, no way to defend yourself, and you're just running around solving puzzles. And again, if you're really into puzzles and having that little horror aspect, that's cool, but for me it was just seemed very tedious rather than actually challenging to do. And the big villain, or I guess main dude that's hunting you down, is just super like, there's another interaction you have with the villain where you have to sneak behind him. Yeah. Oh, please. Holy. Oh. He was way over there. Oh, I'm supposed to sneak. Thanks for the heads up. And that was actually getting to the point where I was like, what the heck? What am I supposed to do here? You're supposed to sneak behind him and he reacts to movement, so you don't move. If you don't move, he can't see you. It's like a T-Rex or something. So I'm sneaking behind him, and he'll look over his shoulder to see you, and you stop moving. What? And he's killing me twice. What? I wasn't moving. My hands were still, my head was still. And then you look over your shoulder, you stop moving. And I swear, not a muscle moving, not an inch, and he attacks me. You're gonna see how little my hands are moving right now. And I'm holding them up. So when I have my hands on my side, they're moving less. Oh, shut up. Dead. And then another time I do it, I'm moving a little bit, and he doesn't attack me. And then sometimes, I did that mission like 30 freaking times, just over and over and over and over again. He looks back every 5 freaking seconds. I'm not moving! I literally wasn't moving at all! And he just kept attacking me no matter what I did. And then I finally got it, which usually you can tell like, oh, I did this, I need to not do that. Oh, I did this, I need to not do that. But this one, it was like literally every single time I went in, I couldn't figure out what I was doing. And then the time I actually got it done, I didn't do anything different. It was just the same as what I was always doing. So maybe that's just something they need to work out. Maybe it's a bug. Bro, I am a statue right now. This is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous, dude. Grab it. Oh my gosh. That wasn't the most annoying mission I've ever played in my life. I don't know, it just seems very shallow, and it got to a point where it just wasn't even fun. It was just like getting really annoyed. I was trying to run around him, and if I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that, if it's just me being a little baby sucking at the game. But I don't know, I felt like it was really frustrating. So I got to the point in this game where I could see the potential, and I can see how it's not bad. That's like what I basically want to say in the end is it's not bad. It's not a horrible game, but it's definitely not a good game. I wouldn't put it up there as a game that's even worth $30. And again, I don't want to be harsh to the company that made this game or the people who put their time into this, but I just want to be truthful and honest that it seems very shallow and it's very repetitive and tedious. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to me yap and talk about this game. I hope I could give you a better idea on if you want to purchase this game or pick it up. If you're really looking for a VR horror game, I would seriously recommend Resident Evil Village. That is by far like the best VR horror game, let alone VR game in general. It's my favorite VR game, but if you really want a horror game, there's that. And then there's also Resident Evil 4, which not nearly as much horror, but still a great VR spooky game. It's definitely not as spooky as Village. But if you've already played both of those and you really need something to play, you could pick it up, but don't go into it with too high expectation. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and keep your eyes peeled because I heard that Hellsweeper got a good update on PlayStation, and that is going to be on my horizon. So yeah, if you're interested in that, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.